Amaka arrived at the apartment just as the sun dipped below the Lagos skyline. Not completely dark, not completely light. That in between hour when the city holds its breath. She stepped out of the taxi, suitcase in hand, and looked up at the building. 3 floors, old but not abandoned, quiet in a way that felt unfamiliar. This was supposed to be a fresh start, a new place, a new season, no reminder of what she had been through. The security man barely looked up as he lodged her name. Third floor, he said casually. Your key day with agents? Amaka nodded and began climbing the stairs. As she climbed, the hallway light flickered. Once, then again. She stopped walking. For a moment, the entire building felt like it was watching her. Then the light steadied. She exhaled and laughed softly to herself. Nepa, she whispered, always dramatic. Her apartment door creaked as she pushed it open. Inside, the space smelled faintly of fresh paint and something else she couldn't quite place. The windows were shut, the curtains still wrapped in plastic. Everything looked untouched, empty. She dropped her bags and locked the door behind her. The latch clicked, then shifted slightly. Amaka frowned. She tested it again. Click. Loose. It's fine, she muttered. I'll fix it tomorrow. She walked deeper into the apartment, her footsteps echoing softly on the tiled floor. That was when she heard it. A sound, not loud, not clear, a faint thump from above her ceiling, the apartment upstairs. She stood completely still, listening. Another sound followed, like something shifting its weight. She laughed again, louder this time. First, the agent said nobody lived upstairs, she said aloud. Old building sounds, that's all. She unpacked slowly, trying to ground herself, folded clothes, placed her phone on the table, plugged in a small lamp. The light flickered once, then stayed on. Her chest tightened. She shook her head. Stress, she whispered. That's all this is? She turned down towards the bathroom, and that's when she saw it. A shadow just outside her door. Tall, still. Her eyes slammed against her chest. Hello, she said softly. No answer. The shadow shifted, then disappeared. Amaka rushed to the door and checked the lock. Still locked, secured. No sign anyone had been there. She leaned back against the wall, forcing herself to breathe. This is just stress, she said again. You have been through a lot. Outside, a generator roared to life somewhere in the compound. The normal noise of Lagos returned. Cars honking, voices calling, life continuing. But as Amaka turned off the light to sleep that night, she could have sworn she felt something watching her from upstairs. And for the first time since moving in, she didn't feel alone. Morning came, but Amaka didn't feel rested. She had slept lightly, waking at every small sound. The distant hum of generators, footsteps in the compound, the creak of the building settling. Still, she told herself everything was normal. She got ready for work, locked the door carefully and left. When she returned that evening, something felt off. Not wrong, just different. The air inside the apartment felt heavier. She dropped her bag and paused. The chair near the window had moved, just slightly. She stared at it, her brows knitting together. I'm sure I didn't leave it there, she whispered. She pushed that thought away. Stress, tiredness. That night, the windows creaked even though they were tightly shut. A long, slow sound, like fingers dragging gently across glass. Amaka lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, counting her breath. In, out. Then the generator sound changed. The steady hum dipped, rose, then fell silent. The sudden quiet was louder than noise. Her heart began to race. She sat up slowly. That was when the feeling returned. The unmistakable weight. The feeling of being watched. Not from the window, not from the door, but from above. She squeezed her eyes shut. "There's nobody there," she whispered. But sleep refused to come. Every sound felt closer. Every shadow felt deeper. By morning, dark circles framed her eyes. At work, she barely focused. Her mind kept drifting back to the apartment, to the ceiling, to the space above her head. That evening, she had unlocked her door. She felt it again. That strange certainty. Someone or something was upstairs, waiting, and Amaka knew one thing for sure. Whatever was happening, it wasn't going to stop on its own. Amaka couldn't shake the feelings anymore. It followed her into the morning, into traffic, into conversations she barely heard. By evening, she made up her mind. She needed answers. She stopped by the security post before going upstairs. "The flat above me," she said carefully. "Who they live there?" The security man hesitated. "Nobody," he replied too quickly. "But I hear movements," Amaka said. The man shifted, cleared his throat. "They are doing repairs," he said. "Been locked for months." Something about his tone felt rehearsed. That night, she noticed marks near the stairwell door. Small scratches, as if something heavy had been dragged. Her stomach tightened. Later, lying in bed, the sound returned. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, directly above her bedroom. Step, pause, step. Amaka pulled the blanket tighter around herself. Whatever is upstairs, it was awake. Rain poured that night. Thunder rattled the windows. The lights flickered widely. Then the footsteps began again. Heavier this time, matching her movements. She sat up. The steps stopped. She lay back down. They resumed. Her breathing became shallow. She whispered a prayer she hadn't said in years. Not loud, just enough to steady herself. Then she heard it. A whisper. "Amaka." She froze. The lights went out completely. Darkness swallowed the room. And in that darkness, fear took hold. From that night on, patterns emerged. Whenever Amaka left the house, she felt watched. Whenever she returned, something was different. A cup moved. A curtain shifted. Nothing obvious, nothing provable, but enough. Sleep became impossible. Dark circles deepened beneath her eyes. Then one evening, footsteps echoed in the hallway outside her door. They stopped right in front of her apartment. She stood frozen, listening. Then they retreated. Slowly, whatever it was playing with her. Amaka had enough. She placed her phone facing the door and pressed record. If something was there, she would see it. That night, the power cut suddenly. Complete darkness. Then footsteps. Inside the apartment, her heart pounded violently. She whispered one name, "Jesus." The footsteps paused. The air shifted. Something changed. Fear rose one final time. Shadows moving along the walls. Not touching her, just cycling. Amaka stood her ground. She prayed. Not perfectly, not eloquently, but sincerely. As she called on Jesus Christ, the heaviness began to lift. The shadows thinned. The room grew lighter. Then silence. Deep. Final. The footsteps never returned. Days passed. Nothing happened. No shadows. No sounds. Amaka slept peacefully for the first time. Standing by her window one morning, she reflected. What almost destroyed me wasn't the darkness I saw. It was the fear I allowed to control me. She smiled softly. Leaning on Jesus Christ gave me the peace I could never find alone. The apartment felt like home now, and whatever once lingered upstairs was gone.